5-minute break. I was a little early.
1 minute.
Not yet, not yet. Wait till we start. How many people? We only have 20 people on so far, so let's wait a few minutes.
But then you'll have to record, you'll have 2 recordings. One is the business meeting, then one is my presentation.
Right.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, they will be absolutely separate, so you can have your own recording.
Very good.
Yes, and you've got a slide for your books too, right? Your books.
Yes, I added a slide for my book and a slide from my web page, the Maptia,
Excellent,
with the URL at the top.
perfect.
Okay, see you later.
Okay, see you later. Don't forget us.
Hey, Christine, Dave Edick here.
Hi, Dave.
Hey, Stan asked me to say a couple words about Academic World Quest if that comes up during the meeting. That's why
It
I'm
is
here early.
absolutely, okay, hold on, because yes, it is, and I will tell you right now. I'm calling them special projects. I'm trying to highlight what we're doing besides our events. So let me see. So slide 14 is program committee with special projects. So I will quickly run through that. It's basically what did we do and what are we doing for the rest of the year. That's just program committee. And then the first slide after that, so slide 15 is called SDWAC Special Project Education Committee and Academic World Quest. I didn't have much, so I just said, that we had sent out thank you, congratulatory, and that we're going to be doing it again. I'm hoping to get more schools involved with a special thanks to both of you. That's all that is there. So I would love it if you take that slide and talk it. And if you want to add, we're really tight on time, so it's like 5 minutes max. Okay.
Okay, I don't have much to add, but
Okay.
yeah,
Okay, but will you talk it so I don't need to?
sure.
Okay, that would be awesome. Thank you. So that's slide 15.
Got it. 15.
Yep. We're only up to 22.
We have 141 registered.
Yeah.
Well, that's,
Christine, for what it's worth, I had difficulty signing in. I was planning to use my iPad, and when I accessed the Zoom link, I got a message saying Safari did not believe this was a real address. I'm summarizing. That's why I'm back in the house working
Right.
my desktop again.
Oh, sorry. I don't know anything about that.
I just mentioned it
I hope that
because you might soon get a barrage of emails from people who are having similar problems.
right.
Yeah, one of my friends said that it was very confusing. She thought she wasn't able to get the 5:30 meeting notice. And I said, no, the 5:30 is for everybody, all members. And then that's followed at 6:30 by the speaker. So I had to forward her the email, the Zoom notice. So I was wondering if I didn't get a Zoom notice right before, but it's very helpful for Zoom meetings to send out the link several times.
Dennis, Michael, or Joe, were you able to do that? Did you see Lulu's message? Because that was a good idea.
Yeah.
So
no,
if you,
Could you send
Okay.
it out now?
wait, Joe probably needs to stay with the admin thing. Dennis, Michael, can you do that
Yeah, I
quickly?
can send an email out now. I wasn't able to
Okay,
at the
just
time
send the
because I
link
was
and
on the
just
road.
tell them
The
it's
link,
one link. It's one link for everything. They can come in whenever they want.
The meeting starts at 5:30.
Well, not quite. It's 5:32. There's only 25 people, so I want to wait a little bit longer.
I think probably many are just going to show at 6:30 for the speaker. And I noticed that there were notices of this in the national newsletter. So some people aren't going to join us at 5:30. So that's just, I don't think you should expect all of those to be here in the next minute.
No, I won't expect all of them, but we're going to do the vote up front, and I think we need more than 27 people.
Yeah, and I noticed that the reminders that went out actually just said 6:30. I was just looking at the last reminders that went out to people, and it says, okay, reminder, you have a meeting at 6:30.
Yep,
I didn't-
that's right.
I didn't see that.
5:30. It didn't say 5:30.
Yeah.
So I think Dennis Michael, if you could send it out for 5:30, that would help maybe. So all
Working
members
on it
are
right now.
invited.
I'll be sending one out in a minute or
Great.
so.
Thank you.
No pressure, Dennis Michael.
You guys are starting to stress me out.
Or Christine is like, what? You're not gonna come on till 6:30?
That's where the Zoom link is.
Oh, it's on.
Okay, Susan, you got on. Glad. Thank you. I was sharing your experiences,
Yeah. I actually got the 6:30 notice for the talk, which sounded very interesting, and I registered for it. But nowhere did I get a link to the 5:30. So I sort of assumed to just go on the 6:30 link at 5:30, which is.
Yes, sorry that wasn't clarified. It's one link for everybody to do whatever they want.
They've relaunched it now.
Okay, I don't want to lose too much time because we want to start at 6:30. So I will start because some of this, like the first couple of slides are not, earth shattering. Though I'd like folks to see who our board is and who our, volunteers are. What do you guys think? Do we wait a few more minutes? Do we get to 30 or what?
We need to go.
I think we need to go. We have to have a
Right.
hard stop at 6:30.
Yes, we do. Okay, and Lulu's going to be the timekeeper, so please remind us. And I put time on the agenda. I added time. It's basically 5 minutes max for folks. Okay, so I guess we're ready to roll, right?
Roll on.
Okay, so first of all, welcome everybody to the 2021 annual members meeting. We're very excited to have you join us. A lot of us have done a lot of work to put the presentation together so we can explain what we've been doing this past year. And we will have a hard stop at
Can't hear you, Christine. You went silent.
Unmute
Got
Christine.
a message saying the host muted everybody.
oh,
There we go.
okay. Okay, I'm back. Okay.
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I got muted. I don't know what you heard. So welcome to our annual members meeting. We're going to have the annual members meeting from 5:30 to 6:30 with a hard stop at 6:25. So there's a 5-minute break before our keynote speaker begins his talk and slideshow at 6:30. Next slide. Joe? No, way up, way up, way up. No, way up, 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 up. Okay, this one, thanks. Okay, just a reminder of the house rules. Please keep yourself muted until we're in the Q&A session. If you don't want to be recorded, keep your video off. Though if you're going to vote, you'll need to have your video on for voting. Remember, your camera is on if you have it on and that we can see you. So be cognizant of that, please. And again, wait till the Q&A portion to ask the questions, and we've got directions for that later. Next slide, please. Quick run through the agenda. I'll make a few remarks, and then we're going to move into the election of new board. Then we'll have committee chairs make a brief summary, as we did last year, of their accomplishments. We'll be talking about the volunteers of this past year and the program for them. And then, as mentioned, at 6:30, Daniel Miller, Foreign Service Officer from USAID, will join us for his presentation. Next slide. Next slide. So just to remind all of our members, in case you don't know who the faces behind this past year's efforts have been, here are the officers of SDWAC. Manish and Debbie and I are continuing on, and they've been magnificent all year long, helped us in every way. And Petya, who is not with us tonight, unfortunately, stepped down at the end of June as the vice president because of work pressures and commitments. And she went home to Bulgaria for this month. So she's in Bulgaria and she will not be able to join us tonight. But this is a huge shout out because anybody who knows Petya and all the work she's done, particularly with our volunteers, but also helping all of us make everything work, you know, just let her know it's a huge shout out and we've appreciated everything that she's done for us. She will stay on the board. She just won't be the vice president. Next slide. Oop, there we go. Okay, as you probably know, these are chairs of our various committees. Dennis Michael, Lulu, Peter Meissen, Stan Katz. Next slide. Also John Schlosser, who was the past president, and Ambassador Harnish. Joe, who's handling our Zoom tonight. Thank you so much, Joe. You always help us with that. Mike Williams, also, who's been had some very special projects with us this year. Thank you. Next slide. Sabode, who is the chair of our nominating committee, who will take the lead after I'm finished with this. Will, who's been very helpful with special projects, and Gina and Bill Davison up in our North County chapter, who takes the lead up there, and he will also make comments when we get to the debriefs. Next slide. I now turn it over to Sabode, who will handle the voting session.
Good evening. As Christine mentioned, please turn on your video when we have the voting. You can either click the raise hand icon if you see it. Otherwise, raise your hand, and Dennis Michael Broussard will take a picture, the different pages, and will count the votes and let us know the results afterwards. Next slide, please. So as per the bylaws, we are required to send a list of all the nominees to the membership 3 weeks in advance of the annual meeting, and this was done. Next slide, please. So this year we have 5 present board members up for re-election: Reno Harnish, Peter Meissen, John Schlosser, Will Tushvelo, and Mike Williams. Their terms are up, and so they're up for re-election. The nominating committee had a very pleasant task this time. We got many excellent nominations, and we talked to all of the nominees, and it was nominating committee's opinion that these 8 members listed here would have a lot to contribute to the World Affairs Council over the next couple of years. So the new nominees are Miriam Bernard Martin, David Idick, a past president who is returning to the board after a mandatory 1 year away from the board, Bettina Hausman, Paul Martilla, Ann L. Phillips, Jeffrey F. Scott, Kiran Shalat, and Susan Bruin. Is there any discussion? Is there any question on any of these nominees? I don't hear any questions, so I think we'll proceed to Stan, thank you. Because of the COVID, I'm kind of trying to find a place which is quiet in the house. And it's been a little bit difficult. So if you can't see my face, that's okay. As long as you can hear my voice. Anyway, we'll proceed to the vote.
Sabode, I have a quick question. Dennis Michael, if we've got the share screen on, can you only see a few people at a time?
I was going to ask before Sabode asked for the vote, if he could remove the screen after he asked people to raise their hands so I could see everyone and count the vote.
Okay, so Joe, after Sabode asks for us to raise our hands, can you shut down the share screen while we vote so that we can get as many people on the screen for Dennis Michael to count.
Okay, let's go to the next slide.
No, we want no slide now.
Okay. So let's
That's it,
vote.
so.
Let's vote at this point. Please raise your hand.
Okay, keep them raised, please.
John, would you like to turn on your video? I mean, your audio?
Okay, well, it is definitely more than a majority, and it's
Yeah, I mean,
almost
it's almost,
unanimous.
it's almost everybody. And the few people that may not have their hands up, we can ask for who says no, but they may be non-members. If they're non-members, they're not voting.
Are there any no votes?
Okay, should we put our hands down? Okay. Any no votes? If you raised
Abstentions?
your, okay, sorry.
Since I don't see any hands, I think that Dennis Michael can tell us the results.
Yeah, without even counting, I can tell you what the results are. But I will have an official count. Give me a few moments, but it does appear, without the official number right now, that it was pretty unanimous with everyone who was visible, but I'll give that number in a minute.
Thanks.
You were borrowing my computer or something?
So should we continue with the program, or we want to wait for Dennis Michael to give us the official count?
We can wait a few more seconds because this is a
Okay.
very key part of the.
Yeah.
of-
It
All right.
is, and we want to make sure we do it. Yeah, correct.
You can count Anne as well. She's here. I'm using her computer, in fact.
There's
Oh,
my.
yay, Anne. Thank you, Anne.
Thank you.
It's such a close, it's such a close call.
Hello, Ann. Haven't seen you for a long time.
I know. How you doing?
Well, just to boost the overall total.
So with that would be a total of 30 people in attendance with 24 hands up.
Okay, so the
So that
the
would be an
non,
official
the
count to
non-hands could
pass.
be non-members. So just to be, you know, whatever. Kind of word.
I know, yeah.
Within protocol,
Right.
I think did we do the raise your hand if there's a no? There's no votes, correct?
There were no votes.
Okay,
Okay, so with that, it's clear that all the nominees are elected.
so right here, so we've got the slide for you, Subodh.
So congratulations and welcome to the returning board members as well as the new board members. We are planning,
Yay.
sorry, we're planning to have a meet and greet in person in July, and an organizational meeting of the new board will be held toward the end of July, and you'll hear about it. With that,
So,
I think I'll pass it back to Christine.
thanks. Thank you, Subodh.
Thank you.
So that was great and exciting. Next slide, please. So again, just so you all know, we had, you know, eight people that were recommended and or asked to join the board, and there was a rigorous process. We interviewed them, and I personally am very excited about every single member. They're super experienced and bring a lot of additional value, networking, experience, and talent to the board. That will put the board, the official board membership, at about 24. Our bylaws allow 25. And one of the reasons that we wanted to do this, in addition to getting more talent, was also to have more hands on deck so that we can do more and have more people involved. So again, thank you for those who nominated. Thanks for the self-nominees, and welcome aboard. Really happy that you're joining us. Okay, so now we'll move on to committee updates. Let's go, please.
Do we need a motion?
Oh, sorry.
Do we need a motion?
Yes, I think we should have had a motion on that vote.
Okay, I go, yes, no, we're good. Okay, somebody making a motion?
I'll make,
Go
I'll
ahead.
make the motion to accept the nominees as put forth by the nominating committee for the new board.
I second.
Seconded.
Okay, Farouk and Lulu seconded. Thanks, Farouk and Lulu.
Okay.
So do we have to go hands up again? Just for the record,
Just for the record.
just for the record,
Please raise your hands
it's
again.
gonna be really hard for him to see, but anyway, yeah. Put your hands up again.
It does look like more than a majority, so we're good on that.
Tell us when you're good, Dennis, Michael.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
We've got a more than
All
a
right.
majority.
Okay, so we can all lower our hands now and move forward. Great. Next slide, please. Next slide. Okay, so I apologize in advance that some of these slides have a lot of words on them. They're here for you if you're interested in the details. I'm not going to go through everything. I want just to be able to show you that we've been very busy in case you all didn't really know. So from the program committee, which includes special projects, from January to May, we had really interesting speakers. They're listed here. And we also had 2 special projects, which we'll talk about in a little more detail later. The Academic World Quest and the Madhavan SDWAC Scholarship. And in June, which we'll also talk about later, we also were very honored to partner with the United States Navy in providing technical expertise about India to the US Navy as they prepared for incoming Indian military over the next 2 years, who they'll train. So there'll be more to follow on that. We're having our annual meeting, and then also on the 16th of July, just also to reflect the different kinds of responsibilities SDWAC and the board handle for all of us, is we do a lot of outreach, or we receive outreach from international diplomats. And in this case, there's a new Consul General for the Philippines based in Los Angeles, and he and his entourage are coming down the 16th of July, and they asked to meet with us, and so we will be doing them that courtesy and ours as well. As I recall, the new GC has a fascinating background. I believe it includes national security issues for the Philippines, and we, Dennis, Michael, and I were thinking that he probably down the line would be a really interesting speaker for us. Reminder that in August, there'll be no speaker event. September, we'll have Russia and China versus the United States speakers. We'll have 2 presentations in October to cover border and immigration, one from Peter Nunez and one from Alan Burson. They each will be kind of focused on the border and immigration issues under Republican administrations and Democratic administrations. Also, I hope that all of us are excited that we're able to begin talking about an annual fundraising dinner with a keynote speaker, which we used to have as our modus operandi, but we haven't been able to do that with COVID. We were hoping to do it before the end of this year, but it just seems the environment is still a little bit too unstable to make those commitments. So hopefully by the beginning of 2020, we will be able to have an in-person annual fundraising dinner. And that said, there's a possibility in November and December that we might be able to have in-person speaker events. We'll keep you posted. Next slide. Joe? Great. Yeah, I don't think that's it. Hold on a minute. So the next slide should be the 15th slide. Yes, whoop, that one. Okay. So Dave Edict will speak to this.
Very good. Good evening, everybody. I was the coordinator for the Academic World Quest program this year. It was the 8th consecutive year in which the San Diego World Affairs Council has participated in the World Affairs Councils of America's flagship youth program. That is a quiz competition on international affairs. And the competition this year was held on March 13th. It certainly was a challenge this year, as you all know. We could not do the program in person, competition in person. It was held online. We had 3 teams competing from Canyon Crest Academy. Regrettably, despite a tremendous amount of outreach and disappointments from some of the schools that we were in touch with, communications issues, this just was a very difficult year to get people attending. We did have a competition, went off successfully, and looking forward to competition in 2022. Probably on or about Saturday, February 26th. I have reached out to people at Canyon Crest and at El Capitan High School about the timing, but we're looking forward to having a competition again in February 2022 and expect a goodly number of teams as we will be reaching out to people well before the school year starts. Thank you.
Thanks. Hey, Dave, do you remember when we did the election forum? Was that with Canyon Crest?
Yes.
Okay. You want to quickly speak to that? Because again, I forgot to write it down, but I'm trying to highlight the different kinds of programs that SDWAC is involved with.
Do we
So
need
this
to
was
get
kind
into
of-
that much detail? Sorry, because I think.
No, I just want to note the different special projects. So I'll just note that during the presidential election, we were asked to kind of be panelists with the high school students and to discuss the results of the election. So
Well,
next
we were
slide,
contributing,
please.
yeah.
Yes,
It was
you
a
were.
success
Thank you, Dave.
there.
Thanks, Dave. Okay, next slide. Okay, I don't know if is Mike online? Mike Williams? No, okay.
Yes.
So
yes, I'm
US,
here.
okay, do you want to speak to this slide?
Sure. We got a email into Christine from the Navy. I think there's something to do with John's past relationship with Navy, but the Navy is basically, the U.S. is selling helicopters, Navy helicopters to the Indian Navy. They have a bunch of instructors. Some of them are active duty, a lot of them are retired or they're contractors to teach the Indian Navy how to operate, maintain those helicopters. They have not dealt with the Indian Navy before, Indians particularly, and wanted to have some training to culturally sensitize them and to get them so they could actually work real well with the Indians. We have a growing relationship with the Indian military. So they asked us to do a presentation, and I think we did a pretty good job introducing them. We had the event at the Royal India up on Miramar Road, which turned out to be a very nice luncheon. So they could also taste the food, get a sense of the culture, and talk to some of our Indians who were able to listen, explain religion, culture, and a lot of other things. And I think it went off real well.
Yeah, it was actually excellent and a giant. You can see the front row in this photograph, minus me. The other ones were all expert speakers. And way over on the left, we also had asked the University of San Diego professor Nad Karami to speak to some of the history and the current regional politics. So we appreciated her partnership and the partnership therefore with USD and obviously with the military. And we will have social follow-up with the Indian military once they've settled in a bit. So that may be an event where we can add them to our SDWAC members as well. It was a great event. Thanks to everybody. Next slide, please. This should be, yeah. Dennis Michael?
That looks like my slide.
Yeah.
All right, that's me. So I'll start off by thanking everyone for coming here, and everyone here would have also received a very poorly formatted emergency email about tonight's meeting. Apologies for that, but I'm glad that you're all here. We have a fantastic speaker tonight, but as far as our PR and communications committee goes, I think everyone here should be receiving the new newsletter that on our team, our young professionals. I think Davida might be on this call, and if he is, say hi. He's taken the lead of transforming our newsletter to be a little bit more modern. Our newsletter has always been great, but this one appeals to maybe a more mass generation. Are you on the call, Davida?
He is. I see him on. Yes. Thanks, Davide.
So he is a University of San Diego student. Oh, there he is. I'll let you say hello.
With his Fontana de Trevi in the background.
Yeah, Fontana di Trevi.
So he's taken the lead on the newsletter, and David, I keep talking over you.
Yeah, I've not been with SDWAC too long. It's been about 6 months now, actually. I recently graduated from the University of San Diego. I was doing my master's there, and I was just keen to use some of the skills that I learned over there and some of the ones I'm picking up as well in data analytics. So happy to be of help to SDWAC.
So thank you for taking the lead on that. And we do have a team of young professionals who are working with him. I'm contributing to this as well, but this is open to all board and all members to be able to participate and contribute. So shoot us an email or a letter or whatever, and let us know in what way you want to contribute, whether it's to write op-ed pieces, articles, whatever. We'll add those to the coming months. As far as the social media front, we've experimented with different things, but mostly it's been promoting what events we have coming up. We'll try to do a little bit more creative things there, recognizing different international events and stuff, maybe throw in some non-touchy articles in there just to make people a little bit more aware of what's going on. But primarily you'll see the upcoming events and who our speakers are. And finally, all of our events will be discussed later, but they're all on the website. You can register for all of them right now. Even after this meeting, you can go see what we have all the way up until the middle of October and register for all of them. We have a great lineup coming up. So that is going to be my truncated PR communications report. Thank you.
Thanks, Dennis Michael. Lulu?
Okay, I'll mute myself. All right, so I took over this membership committee towards the end of last year. And since then, Stephen Cortez has been on my committee, and more recently, Azli Selik and Khalid Al-Harthi. So we have a really good, robust team. And when I took over last December, we looked at what the current membership was. And I must admit, Joe did a great job in getting us going on Wild Apricot, but there's still a lot of uncertainties about what that website, that platform gives us on membership. We did the best we could, and we figured out that if we held to the current membership, our revenue or income from membership dues is around 11,900. So we established that as a goal for us to at least maintain through the rest of this fiscal year. So what we did accomplish is we basically reviewed and tried to update all the system emails one gets when you join, or when you're renewing, or when you're not going to renew. So the system sends out a bunch of emails, and we try to streamline them a little bit, try to change the language a little bit to make them a little more friendlier. I'm not quite sure what the effect is. It's hard to measure. We also introduced a process where when a member fails to renew, becomes a past due, we would reach out with an email from the membership manager. It is no longer a system email that comes out from SDWAC. It comes from the membership manager, and the email basically says, hey, we noticed that you haven't renewed yet. Just want to check and make sure it hasn't gone to your trash bin. And then when that doesn't produce any results, we follow up with a personal email, not from SDWAC.org, because sometimes that does get trashed very quickly or junked. And it goes out from his personal email, Stephen Cortez's personal email. So we tried that process for a while. In fact, it's still ongoing. And what we've noticed in the little bit limited data we have is that we get about a 10% recovery. So for out of every 10 people we reach out to who has chosen not to renew, one person does come back and join. So not sure what that does, but we'll continue doing that. What we also did was we formalized the monthly tracking of both membership count, head count, as well as revenue. And this is a process we hope will continue on regardless of who takes over when I step down, because it just gives us the metrics that we use to monitor our progress. Looking forward, what is in work is that we're trying to understand what causes people, what are factors that causes people to want to join SDWAC, and what are the factors that cause them to leave or perhaps to decide to stay. So that is a project that is in work right now. Next slide. Okay, so I'm pleased to report that as a result of our collective effort as a team, at the end of this fiscal year, we have 154 members. And for those who may not be familiar with the different categories of membership we have, these are the various categories. And we have managed to do quite well, I must say. Next slide is actually a build, an animation. Okay, when you compare these numbers at the end of June to what it was 6 or 7 months ago, there is an improvement. And I believe that it's not just to the credit of the membership committee, it is because the organization has really maintained its act throughout the very difficult time of COVID, of having programs that allows people to say, hey, I think I'm going to stay involved. Hey, I think I'm going to renew, or I'm going to join this group. So I'm very pleased to report that most of the time we show a nice increase, in fact, in just about every category from 6, 7 months ago. As a result of that, next slide, or you click, the animation should come up. If you click on the slide. Oops. Can you back up a little bit? Oh, it went to slide 24. No. Yeah, okay. So when we looked at the numbers, not only did membership increase, but we also met and exceeded our revenue goal for this year. Thank you.
And I want to do a special shout out to Lulu and her team, because she understated how hard they all worked. So under this stressful year, as you all know, and with Zoom fatigue setting in, you know, I think it was the aggressive outreach of Lulu and her team that has allowed us to stay connected and encourage our members to continue to contribute and donate. So thank you, Lulu, a lot, and the team. Development, Peter.
All right, thank you. This last year, we didn't have any new corporate sponsors. We had one renewal that Lulu got for us, which was terrific. Just a tough year for asking for larger money, given all the other options out there. Membership committee obviously did an outstanding job to increase that and enroll new members. What we focused on were the online events, where we made sure there was a final slide at the end to both invite new members for people that weren't members, and to invite them to also look at sponsoring. We can do that right now if you want to consider. We have events in September around US, Russia, China relationships. That's a sponsorship opportunity. So talk with any one of the board members, and we can, Christine, I'm sure would be happy to have that conversation about covering the costs of hosting these meetings, and the one on in October on the border and immigration would be obviously a great opportunity as well. So we'd like to have individual sponsors for each one of those. We've done some targeted media. So We had a Filipino sponsor for the Filipino conversation. So that's always a great opportunity to say who are the opportunities to co-market with organizations. In San Diego, we always want to do that and look at that opportunity in the upcoming meetings. Standard follow-up letter to every guest to say thank you for joining us, or thank you for coming, and inviting them to become members. And what we certainly need is another member or two on this committee. As we do go out more publicly, it's an opportunity to, I think, to get face-to-face sponsorship and acknowledge them. What you get for your money is you get a very nice thank you from us as an organization and a tax deduction. So please consider that.
Thank you, Peter. And hopefully with our new board members, some of them will be interested in joining you and kind of having a fresh approach to development outreach as we move away from the lockdown and back into in-person. So thank you and your team also. Next slide, please. Manish?
Hello. Hi, hello everyone. So a quick overview. If you look at the very bottom line, you can see our financial picture improved significantly in 2021 over 2020. We went from negative $5,800 to almost $12,000 in the black. Primary driving factors were 50% increase in membership. Once again, thank you, Lulu and her team. And also we had significantly reduced expenses, staff expenses, which just means that the board members and volunteers did all the work. And we had some increase in our IT expenses against that Zoom related. So that gives you a quick overview. We had a good 2021. Next slide. Okay, our balance sheet, we bank with the U.S. National Bank. We moved from Wells Fargo to U.S. National Bank late last year. And it gives you a quick overview of what we have. And then, as Christine mentioned earlier, we started the Madhwan World Affairs Council Scholarship Fund with San Diego Foundation, and where we have currently about $35,000. This was the first year when we made an award. Next slide. Recipient was Rachel White, and we do have a I think her personal essay, which is very touching and shows the worth of what we're doing, is available for anybody to read at their own time. Sabod, Dennis, Michael, and myself were on the evaluation committee, and we had 11 very qualified candidates. It was a challenge, narrowed down to 3, and from there to 1. So, but there we go. Yeah. Any questions? Okay. Next slide.
Thank you also to Manish for doing all the work on our financials by himself. Thanks so much for keeping us legal and in the black. Okay, and Bill Davison, who's the president of the North County chapter of SDWAC, he'll speak now. Unmute you. Bill, are you there unmuted?
Okay, I'm done. No, we had a very interesting year because the focus of our chapter was more on conviviality and getting together every Thursday morning.
Hello, 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 hello.
Yes, what's the matter?
It's one of your North County brothers.
He
just saying
decided
hello.
to say hello. Hello, Alan. Anyway, and when we had to cope with the pandemic, it was very difficult. We wound up going to Zoom, shifting to 2 meetings a month. And the people who ran programs did a great job at getting interesting people. Instead of really crashing our membership, I think we have about 110 members this year. And we have the meetings every other Thursday. This slide was the one that I used last board meeting, and we also have an annual meeting planned. We have a nominating committee underway. Most importantly, I think we've begun to really focus on post-pandemic operations and to figure out how do we get back to what we were in a way that doesn't cause people to be afraid to come to the meetings. And I'm personally leaning towards a hybrid approach where we run Zoom and in-person meetings kind of in parallel and see how many people show up for each of them. And that's kind of where we are. Everything is going pretty well. That's
Great.
it.
And just a shout out to all of you guys too. The North County it's different than the SDWAC downtown, but it's really outstanding. You guys have tremendous speakers, and you know it's a different environment, but it's of equal value, and your speakers are top notch.
Thank you. I hope you enjoyed this morning's session.
I did. Absolutely.
Yes, I would certainly second that comment by Christine. I think you guys have wonderful speakers, and it's a matter of being able to attend, even virtually.
Great.
But we're all recording now too, so we're trying to allow people to miss an event, even if it's on Zoom, but be able to still capture it. And this is being recorded, FYI. This is being recorded. We'll probably put it up briefly in case somebody missed it. And same with the presentation. It'll be a separate save, but we'll also record our presentation. Okay, next slide, please, Joe. Nope. No. Yes, okay, great. So we just wanted to highlight for our members that we've taken sort of another look at our internship volunteer program, especially because we moved to Zoom. Some of the responsibilities the volunteers had before when we were in person didn't exist for this past year. And we've talked to the volunteers, and with all of that in mind, and it's still a work in progress, but we're really trying to make the experience for the volunteers / interns one that really enhances their resume. And so we are committed to working with each individual intern to try to match our needs with their needs. And it seems so far that it's been a win-win on both sides. You know, we've had some tremendous efforts that have enhanced SDWAC, and a lot of our volunteers are gaining really important experiences. Next slide. So, you know, I feel strongly about, let's see, is this the first one? Yeah, I think it is. I feel strongly about seeing the faces of the people who are doing so much work for us. And just to remind all the members, number one, it's surprising how much effort goes into as simple as you might think a Zoom one speaker a month event is. There's a lot that is required to do that and to keep the organization valid and growing. And so I wanted you to see the faces of some of our volunteers who worked really hard this past year behind the scenes. Maybe go back to the first one for just a minute, please. Previous one. Okay. So just take a good look at everybody. They've all worked hard and we really thank them. And then next slide, please. The same. And also we're starting to reach out to the high school. And actually, to be fair, I wanted us to reach out to the high school, but to be fair, it's been some really amazing high school students who have reached out to us and said they really wanted to partner with us. And so we're delighted. They're all superstars. And if they happen to be on tonight, you know, I really want to commend the high school students as well as our undergrad and grad, and some who have just graduated. It's really an honor to work with all of you. And I'm so proud that we have SDWAC as a platform that's a win-win platform. Next slide, please. And this was just a reminder slide. These are volunteers that probably are off of our volunteer list for at least for a while, maybe forever, who stayed with us anywhere from 6 months to a couple of years and have there's longer accolades from them thanking SDWAC. But we really wanted to make sure that our members acknowledge or are aware that by your support of SDWAC, you are also supporting a platform that we're trying to grow to really help our high school, college, and post-college students take a new and a fresh look at international affairs, either for a career overseas, for a career in the United States, or just to be better informed citizens. These folks right here are superstars. They've all really made significant contributions to SDWAC, and we owe them a lot, and we're super excited for each of them because clearly they're moving forward and they will be the game changers for us. So huge shout out to them. Next slide, please. Okay, we did pretty well. So end of the annual meeting. In theory, we have 5, 6, 7 minutes before the 5-minute break. Are there any major questions that anybody has right now that they want to raise, or we just take a break and everybody come back to your screen? I would say 6:25 just to make sure that we can start rolling at 6:30. The presentation is going to be just incredible. If there's anything you want to say, I guess put it in the chat box. Otherwise,
I have something I'd like to say.
Sure, Bill.
I say it as sort of kind of an outsider, if you will, because I come from way up north. But I've been very impressed at the job you've done, Christine, over the last year. Okay, you've done a really great job at pulling together volunteers in a way that is really beneficial, I believe, to the performance of the San Diego World Affairs Council. And I think you should be congratulated for that.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. And I have to say, I mean, it's